Would I be the asshole for taking my parents to court? I, 18, recently applied for my first credit card and was automatically denied. The bank came back and notified me that my credit score was too low. I was shocked and confused at first, then it hit me. Ever since I was an early teen, my parents had my name on the phone and utility bills. I thought nothing of it at the time, but bills were occurring late fees and I was being penalized for their carelessness. The credit records matched my suspicions, and the financial advisor told me I should take my parents to family court to have these records rectified. I don't believe my parents had malicious intent, but I'm just about to start my financial life and feel like this will slow me down. I've reached out to my parents about this and they've taken it very personally. I'm not sure they understand the extent of this situation or the repercussions of their action. All I know is that I have to put myself first. Not asking for advice, would I be the asshole for taking my parents to court? Not the asshole. Your credit score dominates your life. Any large purchase you want to make, buying a car, renting an apartment, even jobs, check your credit report. It's unfortunate that they did this, but they have to take responsibility, otherwise your life will suffer. Not the asshole because I feel like they understood the extent of the situation when they decided they didn't want the penalties to be attached to their name, credit. You taking them to court is justified. Edit. I realize now that they had likely trashed their own credit and possibly unable to open accounts up in their own names, but still. NTA, they knew what they were doing. Not the asshole. No one has the right to ruin your credit but you. Time for court. Not the asshole, they committed fraud and ruined your credit. That will haunt you for a long time if you don't get it taken care of. No. You absolutely wouldn't be the asshole. You need your credit for a lot of important things in life that it sounds like your parents won't be helping you with. You're gonna have to act in your own best interest. Look out for number one first. Not the asshole. What they did is illegal and can negatively impact you for years if it isn't fixed now. Some people have suggested trying to settle out of court, or getting them to pay it off, but there's a reason your financial advisor didn't suggest those things. Bad credit doesn't go away once you pay your debts. Talk to a lawyer before negotiating with your parents. Not the asshole, and please, get your credit straightened out. They absolutely had malicious intent. If you don't get this taken care of, it will take years, if not decades, to rectify the damage. Not the asshole, honestly, let them take it personally. What they did was illegal. You should absolutely go to court over this. Your score will ruin a lot of things for you if you don't get it sorted out. Am I the asshole for walking out of my sister's wedding after she tried to use me as free childcare? Obligatory throwaway, long-time lurker disclaimer, because apparently that matters. A few months ago my 31M sister, 29F, announced that she was going to get married. The planning process took a while, but the date and venue were agreed on. Now, my sister has a baby, 1M, that just loves to cry. He cries all the time, unless someone takes him outside for fresh air. So a few days ago the wedding started. Because I was out of town I missed the night before the wedding, basically a get-together period for family members and a big party, but showed up for the ceremony and reception. The second I got there my sister asked me to take the baby outside in order to calm him down. I agreed because the ceremony hadn't started yet, but she asked me to take the baby outside again a while later. When I asked why the baby didn't have a sitter, she said that they spent all the money on the ceremony and parties. I was kind of annoyed because I wanted to sit in on the ceremony, but just about everyone jumped on me telling me to do my sister a favor and that it was her day. I asked her about when I was expected to take the baby out for fresh air, and she gave me this huge list of times that basically meant I missed out on the important parts. I wouldn't be there for the exchanging of vows, the reception, the aisle walk, the readings, the kiss, etc. I figured out that in total I would have about 30 minutes actually sitting inside, and the rest was just about the baby. When I pointed this out to her she said someone would videotape it for me, but I wasn't convinced. I wanted to watch my sister reach a milestone, and that was what I came for. I told her that someone else could watch the baby for her, and that as her brother I wanted to watch the wedding, and not have to miss her getting married. Again, she told me to just do it. I was really mad, but tried not to show it on the outside. When I asked about the reception, she told me, "Oh, you'll have to miss out. Baby's name needs to be outside and has to be fed." That was the final straw, and when my mother was holding the baby I slipped out and just left. The next day I get a call from my sister, and she's screaming about how I ruined her wedding and how the baby wouldn't stop crying. I told her that I left because she treated me like a babysitter instead of a guest, family member, and said that it was her fault if she couldn't get a nanny or ask a friend to do it. Since then I've been nuked with calls from family calling me selfish and telling me that I'm effectively disowned unless I apologize. I see no reason to. Am I the asshole? Not the asshole. Why couldn't she rotate baby duty between family members? She basically implied you were the least important person for her at the wedding. Plus, how expensive would it have been to hire a babysitter? Or your parents could have chipped in and gotten one. Not the asshole. Why couldn't the rest of the family take turns taking the baby outside? I find it funny that they're calling you selfish when it doesn't seem like any one of them volunteered to take turns, so it would be fair and you at least got to witness some parts of the wedding. Not the asshole. She should have had at least the decency to ask you if you wanted to babysit. Side note. Why are Reddit brides so bloody weird? Not the asshole. Your family sucks, get a new one. I could use a brother that I actually like and isn't worthless. Wanna be my new brother? I'll never ask you to babysit my kids, my youngest is 15. NTA. But your sister, and your mom, are huge awe. Ask those family members who keep calling you why didn't they offer to babysit. Let them disown you, they subit awful anyway. Not the asshole. Were you the only person certified to hold a baby? Tell every single one of those family members, weird. I didn't see you stepping up to take care of the baby. Not the asshole. She could have told you beforehand that you were babysitting, but she tried to do it stealthy and taking your cue from her, you stealthy left. Telling me that I'm effectively disowned unless I apologize. Considering how all your family treated you, I'd take this as a goodbye gift and take my leave. Your sister could have easily asked for money for a babysitter and I bet the family would have chipped in and helped out. But they decided you were better off babysitting and missing the whole wedding because, fuck you, if anything, you should be the one to demand an apology, not the other way around. Also, chances are you wouldn't even want to know how they're gonna be like at your wedding. If you ever get married, if they even attend. That is. Not the asshole. Someone would videotape it for me. Videotape it, my ass. Edit. Word. Am I the asshole for telling my husband he is expecting too much from our son over the amount of eggs he eats? My 38F husband, 47M, is a very traditional man. He also used to be a star football player for his team when he was younger. He is a very built man and I of course love him the way he is. We also have a 15-year-old lovely son, who took after me a little more than his dad. By that, he isn't particularly brawny and doesn't have an eye for sports. So about a year ago, my son decided to pick up exercising, which of course I was glad for. We started jogging together and he started to eat a little healthier. However, recently my husband has been, in my opinion, a little harsh on our son. He expects him to do reps and eat a lot more protein. But I think he is forcing him too much. Our son started to talk less with his friends and pushing himself more and more. Last Sunday, I made all of us breakfast. I made 2 eggs for both my husband and son, but my husband insisted he had more, so I did 2 more eggs. He ate them, although barely, and my husband insisted I do more despite my son not wanting to this time. I told him that he needs to stop and he was expecting too much from our son. He said that it was nonsense and as his kid, he expects him to be like how he was when he was younger. I called him ridiculous and he told me that as the father of our kid, he should guide him and that I was interfering. We haven't really talked much since and I'm afraid I might be the because I came in between their relationship. Not the asshole. Is your husband Gaston from Beauty and the Beast? 'Cause he sounds like Gaston from Beauty and the Beast. Edit. OMG, thank y'all for the awards. Now I'm going to watch Beauty and the Beast tonight. Open mouth smile. Smiling face with hearts. Edit because I wasn't expecting to be top comment. In all seriousness, your husband is basically a cartoon villain. Please let your son live his own life. Our children aren't supposed to be carbon copies of us. Let him be his own person. And stop his dad from giving him further food trauma. Forcing someone to eat more than they can is abuse. I feel bad for your son. You would be the asshole if you don't try to protect your son from his father's toxicity. Grimace. Not the asshole. What your husband is doing is completely ignoring what your son wants and damaging his relationship with him in the process. Pushing a child, especially at that age, to be something they're not will ruin all motivation they have and give them the feeling of never being good enough. If your husband doesn't calm down, he's only going to get resentment. The kid is lucky that he has a parent that does stick up for him. Just do make sure to ask your son for his opinion and give him a voice. As his kid, he expects him to be like how he was when he was younger. This is terrible. Does he not realize that your son is a whole separate person with a whole unique personality? He needs to get to know your son for who he is, not try to fit the boy into his dusty old mold from the 70s. You're obviously not the asshole, but it's probably time to talk to your son alone and gauge what he thinks about his father's expectations and if he feels pressured or happy with his involvement. And then you can know how hard to come down on your husband, again, in private. Not the asshole. It's not about the eggs, it's about forcing your son to do something he doesn't want nor need. By forcing him to eat more protein and exercise more than he is comfortable with, the only thing you husband is gonna accomplish is discouraging him. So basically you married toxic masculine Gaston. NTA. Put an end to his shit now. I made 2 eggs for both my husband and son, but my husband insisted he had more, so I did 2 more eggs. He ate them, although barely, and my husband insisted I do more despite my son not wanting to this time. Not the asshole. Your son did not want more eggs. His father was trying to force him to eat more eggs. You stood up for your son. Honestly, no one should eat that many eggs in a day. That's not the point, but it's the truth. Not the asshole. It is not his kid's, it's yours. Your kid is old enough to make his own decisions, and supporting him like you do is the right thing to do. Your husband is trying to shape him into a miniature him, and that's narcissistic. Not the asshole. Your husband is creating a really toxic environment for the kid, and I don't mean just by force feeding him food he doesn't want. Am I the asshole for asking my husband to choose between his daughters? I hope this post won't look messy, I'm so riled up that help me God. Me, F50, and my husband, M51, were married for 21 years. He divorced his pregnant wife to get with me, but he saw his daughter Kristen whenever he wanted. Later I gave birth to our daughter Sasha, but my husband was cheating on me and we took a break. I forbade him to see our daughter. He missed her early years, and now I think it changed everything. He doesn't treat Kristen, 21, and Sasha, 18, the same. Kristen is his number one thing. He comes running if she calls him, and he can just drop everything if she asks. He pays for Sasha's education, but she just isn't his priority. He always talks about Kristen, it's always about her. Sasha feels it and it hurts her. I'm sure Kristen hates me for breaking her mom and my husband up. She always does things to rile me up. She calls my husband 5 times a day to chat, even late at night when she knows he's with me. She makes him spend a week in a month with her just chilling in his apartment. He never spends as much time with Sasha, and we live together. It's a victory if I manage to get us to watch a movie together. Recently I learned that my husband left everything to Kristen in his will. She gets an apartment, his WW2 collection, when Sasha gets just one room in an old hostel building. Now there is a cat. Kristen already has 3, there is no place for more, so she dragged one into my husband's flat. She's claiming someone threw him away and she just wanted to give him a home. That's bullshit. She's doing everything to keep my husband chained to his second flat, away from his other daughter and me. He now has to stay there to feed it. Kristen does it when he's not there, but now he has a reason to spend more time in his flat, and he keeps doing it. Kristen knew it would be like this. She did this on purpose, I'm sure. I asked my husband to give the cat away or we'd have a problem. He said he'd think, but he went and consulted Kristen. From what I got, she accused him of betraying that cat and stopped talking to him. My husband spent all night writing her apologies, and he told me he'd never get rid of the cat. He didn't even want it. Kristen brought it. It's just one more thing that keeps him away from his family. I finally had enough and I told him to pick between Kristen and Sasha. He can't have 2 relationships at once, and if he cares about Sasha he has to prove it and pick her at least this once. It was weeks ago. He refuses to give me his answer and I keep feeling like I'm an asshole, but then I get angry again. I know he loves Kristen, but maybe the threat to not seeing Sasha will make him realize he has another daughter who needs his attention. So am I the asshole for wanting my husband to focus on our daughter for a change instead of constantly running around his first daughter? So am I the asshole for wanting my husband to focus on our daughter for a change instead of constantly running around his first daughter? Sue, you engaged in parental alienation because you were jealous, and Dad and Sasha didn't bond. Because of you. And now you're upset because they're not bonded. You are the asshole. You are the asshole. I was close to ESH, but you got with a married man while his wife was pregnant and expect him to be a peach? You banned him from seeing Sasha and are surprised he has a stronger bond with Kristen? I finally had enough and I told him to pick between Kristen and Sasha. He can't have two relationships at once, and if he cares about Sasha he has to prove it and pick her at least this once. This is just so ridiculous. Honestly, I can't even. You need a really, really, really good therapist. Not Reddit. Well, this is going to be fun. You are the asshole just for parental alienation alone. But this post is so full of eyeroll. You engaged in an affair with a married man expecting a child. We're all surprised when he cheated on you. As if it were a secret he was a cheater. Alienated his child and preventing a bond. Then are all upset because this stellar man isn't the father you want him to be. At what point do you accept accountability for this shitshow? Him for cheating. You for the parental alienation and the cheating. By the way, hubby is still cheating. His daughter is just his alibi, and the new girlfriend probably just moved into the apartment. Edit. Thank you to the people who gave me the awards. You told him, checks notes, to pick between his daughters? That he can't have two relationships at once. With his checks notes again, own daughters? Yeah. That's a you are the asshole from me dog. Nah, you are the asshole for getting a married man to leave his pregnant wife, and then punished him for cheating on you. Once a cheater always a cheater. Once a marriage wrecker, always a marriage wrecker. Info. Your husband lives with you but has his own flat where he can keep and care for a pet? How are you accusing Kristen of keeping him away from his home when he had another flat where he can raise a pet, and possibly live? You are the asshole. What did you expect to happen? This is the result of having affairs with married people. You get what you give. Here's the bed you made, now lay in it.